I, 32M, was dating my now ex-girlfriend, 31F, for the past 7 months. Throughout the whole relationship I always did everything I could to make her happy and treat her right. There were signs of gaslighting from her end the whole relationship. Any time that I ever had any concerns that I tried bringing up in a civil way, it always ended up getting turned back around on me, and a large argument would start. I am also the type to never argue much, even ever in previous relationships. Throughout the relationship I always caught her in little lies, and would question her about it, and she would always gaslight me, and told me I was monitoring her under a microscope, and that the reason I was thinking all this was because I was insecure, and needed therapy. Mind you, not anyone from my past relationships ever told me I was insecure before. Obviously, the whole relationship wasn't bad. We had a great connection, and when we were together everything was perfect. Throughout our whole relationship she always told me how much she loved me, and how I was her dream guy, and that she would marry me one day, and that it's not a matter of if spending our lives together, but a matter of when we will spend the rest of our lives together. My ex has been engaged before, and it was broken off years ago. She used to live with her ex-fiancé at their old house together, and states that she is still very close with the neighbors, specifically an elderly female that lived across the street from her. Throughout the relationship she constantly would say she was going to hang out with her old friend across the street from her ex-house. She would spend 2-3 days a week there, and spend the night sometimes. I am a very trusting person to begin with, but sometimes I felt something in the pit of my stomach was off. There was one time that her friend was going to be away for an extended period of time and asked her to watch her house and dog sit while she was away. My girlfriend and I did share locations with each other. During this time, I noticed that some nights she was at a different house than she was the previous nights. Knowing that her ex lived across the street, I started putting 2 and 2 together. At this point I got suspicious. I Google searched her ex name, and was able to find his address, and Google searched the friend and found out these were the 2 locations that she was going back and forth from. I didn't tell her I Google searched them, but I did bring it up at this time, and told her I saw her location was changing some nights, and had concerns that she was spending the night at her ex. Again, she gaslit me, and made me think I was insecure. She told me how messed up it would be for her to do and how shitty of a person she would be if she did that. She again stated that this was stemming from my insecurities, and that I needed to let it go, and that the location services on iPhone were not always that accurate. After this conversation I decided to just say, okay, you're right. I didn't fully believe her, but my suspicions were now raised. Fast forwarding a bit, the night she met my family we got back to her place, and told me that her friend needed help the next day. She had sprained her ankle, and needed a ride in the morning. I didn't think anything of it, but of course I said if your friend needs help then you should help her. That night she drove back to that area again, and what do you know? She was back at the ex place, according to the address search I had done previously. Again, I kept this of note in my mind, and moved on from this, truly thinking after just meeting my family how shitty of a person someone would have to be to go back to their ex after the great night we had with my family. Fast forward a couple of months. The gaslighting and manipulation had continued throughout the whole relationship, and I still had my guard up, but she was so deceiving she almost had me convinced sometimes that I was the problem. She started having issues at work with the boss. She would tell me that her boss would touch her, and get close with her inappropriately at times, and would say that she would let it happen and that I had to be okay with it, because this was her dream job, and she would just have to put up with stuff like this, and that I am going to have to support her throughout this whole process and be okay with this creepy old boss at her work doing what he was doing to her. Our last month of the relationship she started getting very snappy with me and almost went 3-4 weeks without seeing me because she said she couldn't handle being around me at the moment. Granted, we were still dating at this time. I respected her space and her needs, and told her to take the time she needed as she was stressed with work, and I'll still be here. Finally, we of course were arguing one night, and I told her she didn't seem happy, and she was always mad at me, and that maybe she just needed some time and space away from each other. I tried respecting that. The next few days she tried texting and calling me, and I didn't respond or answer because I was trying to give her that space she needed, because I told her that me still being there like nothing has changed will never help you decide if you want to be with me or not. Another day goes by and one of my friends texted me and told me she was back on the dating apps. Obviously, that upset me because she told me she loved me and that she just needed time. That next day I get a Facebook message from one of her best friends. This friend didn't have my number, so this was the only way she could contact me, she said. My ex had never anything bad to say about this friend, and truly considered her one of her good friends. Her best friend tells me that her and her friends think I am a great guy, and I don't deserve what she has been doing to me, and have been trying to find a way to tell me what she has been doing to me. She told me that she knows how well I've treated this girl, and that I don't deserve anything she has put me through. She said that her and her friends have caught her in many lies throughout the years, that she is a pathological liar and a narcissist and does not know what she wants. She told me that my suspicions about her being at her ex have all been true, that she regularly spends the night at his house, will go to his house to work out in his gym, and that he would still pay for her groceries because they would still go to the grocery store together. I'm assuming she was still having sex with her ex and she was spending the night with him. She also said that she has been in multiple relationships in the past since her and her ex broke it off, and she has always been juggling her ex and the other guy she was dating. My ex eventually called me and denied all of this, but how can I not believe it after one of her best friends told me all of this? She also said during that phone call that she didn't even like me throughout the relationship, and that I was shit. Again, obviously just more professional gaslighting. I guess my question is to everyone, is there truly this shitty of people out there that they would lie, take advantage and hurt someone who just cares wholeheartedly about them? That if people can be this selfish and not care who they hurt in the process. She introduced me to all of her family and extended family, talked about a life together and talked about what all of that entailed in detail, told me how she was so lucky to have me as a partner for life and so much more. There are so many more red flags that I have not mentioned throughout the relationship that I could talk about, but I guess I was so in love with the girl that I ignored them. Is this my fault? Am I the idiot for not walking away sooner? This is my first relationship originating based off a dating app, and moving forward should I just stay away from the dating apps, because obviously this has put a salty taste in my mouth, and now I know I am going to have issues trusting girls moving forward.